Hello, fellow owls. Today we're going to learn how to do a flyer. And we're going to use Word just so we can do it very simply, nothing really complicated, and something you probably already have on your computer. Most people have Microsoft Word, so that's what we're going to use today. So let's get started. We're going to start with Word, and today we're going to create a flyer for a diabetes awareness fundraiser. This way, any type of flyer you need to put together, you'll be able to do so. So since we already know it's a diabetes awareness, we're going to go ahead and put that in. And since we have a charm that represents diabetes awareness, I'm going to head over to the Origami Owl page, and we're going to look up the charm itself under causes. And it happens to be the gray one, which is also brain cancer awareness. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to hover over the image. I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to say copy image. Then we're going to go back to our fundraiser flyer, and I'm going to do paste, which is a Control V. And there it is. Now, when I click on it, you see all of this open space here. There's a way that we're going to be able to shrink all of that. And we're going to come up here to Format, and then we're going to come over here to the Crop tool. Click on Crop, and now you see that the size have all kind of changed. We're going to hover over the top one. You can see how it changes a little bit. Click and hold and drag down. We're going to do the same thing on all four sides. That way we can make this a little bit better. So there we go. Now, I'm going to click on the crop tool to get back off of it. And clearly our image is now a whole lot bigger than our text is. I'm going to highlight the text. And one of the fonts that are used quite often for Origami Owl is League Gothic. So I'm going to start with that. And then I'm going to change it to a whole bigger font. Now that's a little too big, although if I pull this in, maybe, and if I pull that up, all right, so it's giving me a little bit of trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Page Layout and change my margins to 1/2 inch all the way around. That should give me enough room, and there we go. So I'm going to highlight it, and I want to center it. Now, the other thing I want to do is I don't really like the black along with the gray. So let's change the font color to probably a really dark gray. There we go. That looks a whole lot nicer. And then if I try to, I can't move the picture here. So if I go back to Format and say Text Wrapping and Through, I now can move this image a little bit freely. So there we go. I've got diabetes awareness. And since it's a fundraiser, we probably should put the word fundraiser here. So I'm going to go Insert Text Box. And we're going to do a simple text box. And we don't need all this goobly gunk, but we're going to type in fundraiser. And there you go. I need to center it, so I'm going to go to Home and center it. And I also want to bold it. I want to make it a whole lot bigger. But now we have a problem. So we're going to stretch this box out all the way to the edge on both sides. It's going to make me do it a couple of times here until I get it the length I want. All right, that looks about good. I'm going to kind of shorten it up just a little bit so that that fundraiser is centered on there. And then I'm going to show you a trick. If you highlight the word and then you right mouse click and go to Font, you can go to character spacing, and I'm going to space it expanded. Now, the higher the number here, the more space I have between each letter. I'm going to put it at 10, just to start out with, see what it looks like. And that's looking pretty good, but I want it a whole lot bigger than that. So we're going to do it again to Font. This time I'm going to be real bold and do 30, see what happens. And I've cut off some of my letters, so now I need to come back in just a little bit. And we're going to try for, let's try 25. Almost. One more time. Font. And let's go with 22. There we go. Now we have it. And that kind of gives you an idea of how you center it. Now what we do want to do is we want to color this box. So we're going to come up here and we're going to say more colors. The reason we're going to do this is we're going to customize it. Because if we refer to our lookbook provided by Origami Owl, they actually give us the RGB for our color. And so the red, in this case, is going to be 101. The blue, or the green, is going to be 203. And the blue is going to be 201. And as you can see, there's our Origami Owl signature teal color. We're going to click OK. And now we have it so that it's sitting there in the color that we want. I'm going to drag it up just a little bit. I'm just going to hit return there. Now, this kind of gives me a better look of what I'm going to do. Now, let's just add some more text to this particular document. We're going to have to change sizes and things, but just to get the text in, is we're going to say your choice of lockets, charms, plates, dangles, chains, unless they're in tags. Okay, so obviously this is really big and a whole lot bigger than we want it to be. So another one of the fonts for Origami Owl is Gotham Bold, which will look really good for this. We're also going to shrink it down a little bit because we don't quite need it so big. Now, if we right mouse click and go to paragraphs, we should be able to take out some of the spacing. So we're going to hit this to be 0 and spacing to be single. Now it's looking a little better for me. I'm going to hit return there. And let's make these about the same color as the fundraiser here. And we're going to make that teal. And now that I look at it, let's change this fundraiser font to, oh, let's say white. So now we're kind of getting some flair here a little bit and still using all of the Origami Owl tools. Now, I'm going to show you how to put in a locket so we can show kind of a fun picture. We're going to go back to the website and we're going to go to lockets. Now, I happen to be fond of the black locket, so we're going to go choose that. Select it. Once again, hover over, right mouse click, and say copy image. We're going to go back to, we're going to go back to our fundraiser page, and this time I'm going to paste using Control V. And there's my locket. Now, once again, we've got this issue with this big space, but for now I'm going to leave it. But if you notice here, this little green dot, if you hover over it, it has a little rotating icon on it. Click on it, and you can just kind of tilt it over just a little bit to the right and kind of give it some character. Now, we also need to make it so that the text wrapping around it is through so we don't have an issue with some of our words over here. And we're going to scoot it over so that our words are over to the right-hand side. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we actually put some charms into the locket? I'm going to scoot it up just a little bit. So we're going to go back to the web page. And let's go and get that cause button or that cause charm one more time. We're going to click on the charm, right mouse click, copy image, go back again to our flyer, and we're going to paste, whoops, I had that highlighted, sorry about that. And we're going to paste it yet again. Now, this time, we're going to do a couple of different things. Number one, we are going to crop and bring in our white area here. Right? And then we're going to tell it to go through so that we can place it on top of our locket here. But now we kind of need to make it fit. So there's two things we're going to do to it. The first thing is we're going to get rid of all of this white magically. We're going to go up here to recolor and come down to the bottom where it says set transparent color. Once you do that, you'll click in the white space and poof, it's all gone. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to realistically size the charm itself. Now, in order to do this, what you need to do is you click on the corner here, but you also hold down your shift key at the same time. That keeps it in proportion. So we're going to make it about the size, maybe a little bit smaller. Realistically, that's about the size of the charm. I like to rotate them just a little bit to give them a little bit more realism. So now we've already got one charm in there. Let's go get another. So we'll go back to the website. We'll go back to the charm collections. And this time, let's go get a love. And let's just take this gold puffy heart here because it's available. We're going to right mouse click on it, copy image, go back to our page again. Yet again, we're going to do a Control V for paste, and we're going to follow through the steps again. So format, text wrapping is through, but we also need to crop it. So we're going to pull it in just a little bit here. Whoops. See what happens if you don't get on the right thing. So we're going to hit crop again. And you'll just take some time playing with it until you figure this out. It's all pretty simple. All right, and then now we want to go recolor it to set the transparency to white. And then we're going to move it. And we're going to resize it to something realistic. So there we go. Again, let's turn it just a little bit. Put it where we want it. Click off. Now it's looking pretty good. So let's do one more just so that we have it. We're going to go back to our charm collection. This time let's get an initial because maybe it's the initial of the person that's there or that we're having this locket made for. So let's choose a B. Once again, hover, right mouse click, copy image, back to our page, Control V for paste, click on the image, go back to format, text wrapping through, and we're going to crop it. Almost getting there. Whoops, there, we wanted to move it over somehow. Let's go recolor that, set that background transparency to white. Now we can move it over, make it a little bit smaller, fit it in our locket, turn it just a little bit, and there we go. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how to make a quick locket. Now you can go into more detail and make that even more detailed, but that's kind of depends up to you. So let's continue on. We're going to hit return a couple of times here until we kind of wrap around. And this time we're going to say, what story will your locket tell? Now, you can see how it just kind of spaced around here. And I'm going to click on here and let you see why. It's literally going around this particular item. Now, we can do a couple of things. One is we can go in here and we can crop this just a little bit so that we don't have an issue with it anymore. So that's one way we can take care of that. And so now we're going to, now we position this a little bit, so we're going to have to move these around. Just have to kind of play. This is not the easiest of programs to be able to create a flyer in, but as you can see, it's not really hard either. So we're looking here and it says, what story will your locket tell? Let's change this back to League Gothic. That way it'll kind of match what's going on up here. And again, the same color font, but definitely needs to be a whole lot bigger. So let's go with 48 is probably a good size. Now, one of the things that you can see that Origami Owl does a whole lot is they take one word, something that's really important, and change that font to a script font, which they utilize Pacifica. So I'm going to click on that, and they also tend to colorize that. And we're going to match this other color, the teal color that we've got going on. So now it's kind of looking a lot like what Origami Owl puts together. And so we're going to finish this up. I'm going to hit return. I'm just going to use kind of a separator of 3 asterisks. Okay, so we're going to hit the return button. Now, we're going to type in 20% of all sales are donated to your local American Diabetes Association. Now, it's a little big, so we're going to highlight it. And we're going to also change it back to Gotham Bold. We're kind of going back and forth with our fonts, but we're sticking to the main ones. And we're also going to make it a little bit smaller because we've got more information we need to put on here. So I'm going to get it, Let's go up one more to there. That way it keeps American Diabetes Association all on one level. Now, the other thing I could do here, I'm not really liking how that's showing, so let's change the font. Maybe that's really what more of my problem is. That's not half bad. And we're going to go to paragraph, and let's do 40, see what happens. Well, that pulled it up a little bit. And then what I could do is add a few more of these on here. Right? So it's all about playing a little bit with it. And we're going to finish this up by putting in information on ourselves. Now, I do want to do one quick thing and say that prices do not include taxes and shipping. Tax will be based upon your shipping address. So some of this stuff is just me kind of playing and putting different things in just to make sure we kind of have our bases covered. I'm going to hit enter again. I'm going to hit it twice this time. And this time I want to insert the Origami Owl logo. So I'm going to do insert and picture. And I'm going to go to my desktop where I house my Origami Owl logo. And this is the correct logo. And I'm going to resize it. So I'm going to make it smaller, hit return, and put my information. So I'm going to put Delara's, our phone number, and our email address. Now, when I click on return, you can see what happened is my email hyperlinked. But if I right mouse click on top of it and say remove hyperlink, that ugly blue stuff goes away. So I'm going to do one more thing to just kind of finish this up. And I'm going to put on here and say to shop now and put my replicated website here. And then select diabetes awareness fundraiser for party upon checkout. Now, obviously, I would have needed to have gone to my back office and put that in there as a party on the party tab already, but that'll get me started. I'm also going to highlight this, make it a little bigger. See how big we can go without changing to the next page. Okay, now one thing I can do is I'm going to go up here to the top and I'm going to make a border around this particular area that I have highlighted. And then I want to fill in the back area with the teal. And I'm going to change the font to white. So that'll give you another option to be able to fill in or make a background for an area. The other thing I want to do is I want to make the line not black. So I'm going to go to borders and shading here. And this is going to actually allow me to select the page border and change the color of it automatically. I'm going to make it the same color so it doesn't really show. And click OK. Oh, it didn't do it. I'm going to take it and click on none right here. And that way that little black area disappears. So there you have it. There's a whole fundraiser piece, and I can go in here, change a few little things if I want to tighten up some stuff. Make that 48. I'll have to move some of this stuff back around. I can tighten it up just a little bit. And actually, we can fix that by going to Format, Recolor, Set Transparency to White. And now I don't have that problem going on anymore. But I now created a new problem for myself. So if I come over here and just hit the spacebar button, that kind of fixes that. So again, it's just about playing around, about moving around, seeing what you're comfortable doing, and you can have a nice flyer just simply by using Word. So I'm just tightening these areas up, giving myself a little bit of breathing room in some others. As you can see, I'm just kind of playing around a little bit. There's nothing really specific here. And this isn't working real well for me, so I'm actually going to come in here and tell it to give it some space at the top. There we go. I like that. And give it a little more breathing room here. Once again, it did my little thing, so I'm going to remove the hyperlink. But maybe now I can make this a little bit bigger. There we go. I like that. So I'm going to view it as one page so you can see the whole thing. And there you go. A decent looking flyer using Word. So now you can have at it and create any flyer you need to. Now that wasn't too bad, was it? And now you know how you can create a flyer for any event that you need. So until then, we'll see you tomorrow in boot camp. Bye-bye.